I'm taking a picture of her. Didn't work. All set up. Everybody's very happy. Maybe I should. So we Oh, sure. Yep. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, it's all done right now. Yes.
I'll use the microphone just because it makes me look serious. And everybody knows, like, we're getting started with the microphone. My name is Elise Ritkath. Welcome. I need more of that, actually. I am a Rodeo Field consultant. I am a wandling, if anyone knows what but I am from Ames, so I am blown away by how all of you have traveled, but you've come to see me. But I am the only one that lives in Ames, so I feel great. Oh, we got one! We got one! That's my dad. We just moved here, so you can rock on in. All future Rodeo Field consultants. But I joined my sister, and it's kind of a family affair tonight. So you're going to hear from a little bit of everybody. So thank you so much for coming. Whether you're a consultant or a customer, or you're here for the dance party later. Yeah. It's going to be fun, I promise. We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for traveling. I promise tonight's going to be so much fun. I promise we're not here to convince you of anything. We're here to share our vision, show you what this company is doing for people, where it's going, and how it's the vehicle to change your life and be the best thing that's ever happened. So without further ado, we're going to introduce my sister, Elizabeth Sandy.
I don't know how you can follow that up because she is legitimately probably the funniest person on the planet that I know. And I don't even think half the time she needs to be funny, but it is legitimately hilarious. I call her literally my daily therapy because I just follow her and she makes me laugh at this. So, like Elise mentioned, my name is Liz Sandy. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We're thrilled that you could be here. It's kind of crazy and weird because we were here a little over a year ago with Natalie and her sister, Nancy, with her sister Natalie, excuse me. The end, I'm going to talk to Gina about this. Because the end is really difficult. Gina's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So, and we did not have the numbers that we have today. So needless to say that the word's getting out and what this, like Elise said, what this company can do for you is absolutely unbelievable. But I'll tell you a little bit about my story tonight, and then I'm going to let Nancy and JR talk a lot more about the business opportunity and a little bit about the man's perspective too, because believe me, most men are very skeptical about what this is. But my story really begins in 2010. I moved back to the Okoboji Spirit Lake area with my husband, and you know, wasn't really 100% sure what I was going to do with my life at that point in time because I was coming to a very small town and I was coming from a very large hotel environment. And I was in the food and beverage industry, knowing full well that if I started in that career path in that area, I would be working nonstop. And so real estate was the path I chose. I don't regret it one bit. It has been very good to me, but it was also a very difficult start because needless to say, I was starting my own business. And so, I probably invested a good $5,000 to $10,000 just to get going between my licensure and signs and advertising and trying to say, hi, my name is Liz. I know you probably know 5 other agents, but use me inside your house. So it was difficult, but I grew a very substantial business in a solid 1 to 2 years. Probably took me a couple years to get going. But I really loved being in control of my schedule. I really loved being my own boss. I really loved being able to have control over what my calendar looked like. My husband works for a family business, and so having that time frame was important to me, and having the ability to kind of do what I want when I wanted was also important for my future because I knew I wanted to start a family. And albeit that wasn't in 2010, it ended up being more so in 2014, I really wanted to be a mom that was present, and that was important to me. So like I mentioned, I ended up having that baby in 2014 and had, again, a very substantial business at that point in time, and I thought I had it made. I thought I had the world ahead of me, and I thought I had the best career path through retirement. You know, the 50s, 60s, selling houses was my thing. And I began watching my cousin post on Facebook. I should say my cousin-in-law. Nancy's my cousin-in-law. I'm actually related to like JR. And I thought to myself, what the heck is this girl doing? She's cray-cray. I mean, seriously, like I knew JR had developed a very, very successful marketing company and brand company, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit. Knowing full well that he was successful and knowing that Nancy got to stay home with her 3 boys, I was really kind of confused what she was doing and why she was doing it because I knew Nancy well and she wouldn't just do anything, right? So this is not like, I did not foresee her selling Tupperware and slanging jewelry out the side door. So it just was not something I saw her doing. So I was really confused by this, but I watched her journey and I watched it from afar. And not only did I see her having the time of her life between dance party and getting jewelry and bags and trips, and then I watched her sister get a free luxury vehicle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's ever gonna give me a free car and Remax, and I'm not gonna get anything more than just a flipping dinner at Christmas. So, I mean, I remember the first year I actually made some good money. I bought myself a chair for my bedroom. I thought that was pretty great. So I realized very quickly that I was never gonna have those opportunities that she was experiencing unless I did something a little bit different. So I asked her what she was doing. And at the same time, like I had mentioned, I just had my first son, and so my priorities were also changing. I didn't want to be selling real estate at night anymore. I didn't want to be working those weekends. I didn't want to be at open houses on Sundays while my entire family's out on the boat drinking Mai Tais and margaritas. I mean, so I was starting, but at the same time, it's like, how selfish am I? You know, I have a very successful business. Who can think differently than that, right? I knew that I could not get a job in town and make the same kind of money I was making. So it's like, who am I to complain? So, but I didn't think there was another way. How could there be another way? So in the midst of all this, my skin was really starting to kind of decline. I had just had my first baby, and I had been on Proactiv for nearly 15 years. And so when I saw Nancy work in this business, I realized, okay, these are the same doctors, right? I knew they had already done this once. Now I know that this is a global brand that they built. They own 80% of the global acne market with Proactiv still today, albeit they have sold the company off. This is a company that's been around for 30 years, and they're still dominating 80% of the global acne market in over 120 countries. That's crazy. For anybody to own 80% of any global market is unfathomable. I can't even talk to the numbers of that. I mean, that's just insane. So, where was I going with that? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So ultimately, I finally jumped in and I decided to do something for myself after I had had a very successful year that year. And I was actually canceling my Proactiv account, and literally within 20 minutes, Nancy messaged me and she was like, hey girl, I have a free regimen that I got from convention. I want you to try it. And I was like, okay, well, if that's not a sign, I don't know what it is. So I jumped in and she said, if you like this though, you need to give it a whirl. And within 3 days, I was like, there's something here. This is big. Because my skin had never been better. And I knew what they had with this. Because I had tried getting off the Proactiv products multiple times. I had tried to kind of like wean off of that and jump into like, you know, cheaper product or, you know, more a simplistic regimen, and that would not work. And so I realized once I started using these products that I was never going to change anything else, right? And so that is what is called residual income building, right? So as people start using these products and they realize how it's actually truly transforming their skin, and it's actually making them feel more confident about themselves, and it's making them realize that they don't have to go to the mailbox with makeup on their skin. They don't have to go to the store and they have to cover up their face. That is life-changing, right? It sounds like a cheesy hashtag, but I'm telling you right now, it's truly, truly life-changing. And so I said, all right, I'm in, but I was a big skeptic. I mean, Nancy had to still chase me. I had like a list of objections. You know, I sure this longevity of this company is here, you know, so on and so forth. But the more I thought about the residual income concept, the more I realized this was big. And I began working my business, and I set a goal out for myself just to cover daycare. And within the first month, I covered daycare. So I was like, yes, right? Daycare is expensive, you guys. I don't know. I mean, it's like, I was like $900 a month. Oh my God. So I covered daycare, and I need to set my goals on something a little bit bigger than that. And so I did just that. And I have plugged into the team and the culture of that is our team. And it is so much different than a lot of the other teams in the area. And that's what I love about this, is not only are we on the fastest growing team in the company, we have the best leaders. I mean, believe me, that's just fact. We have the best leaders we can learn from. And our culture is second to none. So what I love about the culture and what this team has done is that in real estate, the next person's ready to take you out. And if you're not ready to jump the second and someone needs you, you are replaceable. And no one has to buy from you. Believe me, you are scraping at their feet saying, please, please, please use me, right? And so when I thought I had it all, and when I thought I had the career path that I wanted, and when I figured that, you know, I had it made, I realized I was actually at the mercy of my client. I was actually on a phone call today when Jared and Nancy walked in the door, I'm like, I'm doing my real job right now. I couldn't even get off the phone to say hello. And because my client needed me. And I want to be more present for my family. I want to be able to be home on the weekends. I don't want to have to drop everything at night to go show property for 3 hours. I don't want that for my future. I want to be able to be even more present than I am right now. And the stress that will take off my shoulders is unfathomable. I've had a listing this year that has just driven me into the ground, and it's just negative. And I'm telling you right now, if you're not doing what your client wants you to do, they will move right on to the next person. And so I guess what I encourage you to do tonight, as Nancy and Jay are going to talk a little bit more about the business concept and a little bit more about the common objections, especially, you know, with the male minds, because believe me, my husband thought I was crazy at first too, but now he's loving it. Right, no, trust me, believe me. He'll be like JR, like up here next year. But if he'd be here, we didn't have a jury trial tomorrow, believe me. But ultimately, what I encourage you to do is think a little differently, because I wasn't that person. I didn't think differently. I didn't think there was a better way. I thought I had it all, and I thought I had the best path for my future. And I proved myself wrong with that. And I thank Nancy all the time for giving me that opportunity and for staying persistent and not giving up on me, because I would not have the future that I have today. The fact that I have now met my income as a realtor, not even 2 years in this business, and I will have the opportunity to walk away from my job and think completely outside the box and have the opportunity and time frame to do what I want, when I want, with my family, and put my priorities first is life-changing. And so I encourage you to think that way. What could that do for me? What could this look like in my life? How could this maybe change what I want in my future? So, yeah. Cheers to my eyes, because I really love what this is doing, not only for me, but also for my team. And I have a lot of team members in the audience, so I'm super excited you guys are all here. And thank you for all coming. But I'm not going to take up too much more time, so I want to introduce Nancy and JR, and let them talk a little bit about their story and their path and exactly what this has done for them and what this is doing for our team and for potentially all of you as well. So without further ado, Nancy.
Well, it kind of made me want to cry
too, because obviously we're family, and that's one of the beautiful things about this business that I just have to say really quickly is to be able to see that your yes and you kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone like she was talking about, because believe me, this is so far out of my comfort zone, and then to share it with someone else and then to be able to see their lives change like that and affect their family, and really it's something that affects your generations, because she's going to be able to be more present for their children as a mom and live life on their own terms, and that's a really big deal, and it is life-changing. So it's just so exciting to be a part of. So like I said, or like Liz said, I'm Nancy Crosby, and this is my husband, JR. You're going to get to hear from him in a minute, I promise. But I am not business-minded at all, you guys, and I'm the furthest thing you could ever imagine from a salesperson, and I'm actually pretty shy by nature. So like I said, this is so far from something I ever thought that I would ever do in a million years. I actually avoided businesses like I thought this was forever. I was happy to support a friend, but was never planning on doing it myself. But what I did need is better skincare, because we have 3 little boys. Our oldest is 6.5, and we have a 5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. And with each one of those pregnancies, and yes, we're crazy, we have lots of kids back together, this is very hectic, but awesome. But what I did need was better skincare, because I had brown spots taking over my entire face. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. The guys are probably going to glaze over and think, what is she talking about? But the melasma starts to hyperpigmentation when you're pregnant. And it starts to literally, like a mustache, raccoon eyes, like it's horrible. And you can't really get it off. Like it's very, very, very stubborn. And the only real option is laser treatments and photofacials. And I thought that's what I was going to have to do. And I was literally ready to get my face peeled off and bleed. I didn't care. I wanted the brown gone, because like Liz said, it was actually right. I did not care. And I was ready to spend however much it took. But it's so stubborn, and it was affecting my self-esteem, because I was looking in the mirror every morning and thinking, wow, this is just, I hate the way I look. And I looked back at this picture of my second son in the hospital, and I'm holding him, and I felt pretty good about myself at the time. My hair was done, I had a little lip gloss on. And I'm looking back at that picture, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like all there is brown. And it kind of tainted that like memory for me. And it just kind of was like, I've got to do something about this. So I was about to book that appointment for the photofacials and laser treatments when I found out about these products, and thank the Lord that I did. And specifically about our reverse regimen right here, which is like the yellow orangish color, which is specifically for brown spots, sun damage, dullness, uneven skin tone, which was me. So I started using it, and about 2 weeks into my regimen, I was on FaceTime with my sister, and she lived in Oklahoma at the time. We were in Austin, Texas, and she said, what is going on with your face? And I thought, okay, I have 3 kids 3 and under, I'm sleep deprived, I'm dehydrated, like how rude are you? I mean, seriously, right? And she's like, no, it looks like you have a light on your face and your skin is glowing. Nobody has ever told me my skin is glowing, guys, ever. And I thought for a second, I thought, well, it's gotta be that new skincare I'm using. It has to be that. So I told her a little bit about it, and she didn't say anything at the time, and she was actually doing secret research, because she had seen a friend posting on Facebook. You kind of see a theme there, right? Social media, it works, because we don't have storefronts. And she saw her posting about joining the Proactive Doctors in business. And she stopped dead in her tracks, or she likes to call it dead in her pump, because she had twins and she was pumping. And she's like, what is this, Proactive Doctors? And so she started doing what we call secret research. And she's a big researcher. I'm not, like I said, not really business-minded. Would have probably kept scrolling, except if I saw like a before and after and thought, oh, I need those products. But I would have never researched the business, but she did for 8 weeks. And she's a PA in oncology, or was, she's now retired. But so she had a successful job. Her husband was a successful business owner, but she always dreamed of having something that she could make money from a Wi-Fi connection. Haven't we all, right? Like actually have a real business. So fast forward about a month after that, that FaceTime conversation, she calls me up out of the blue, and she says, well, Mom and I are becoming consultants, and you can do it with us or be left out. And I thought, what in the world just happened? First of all, never thought she would ever say something like that either. Neither one of us were ever going to do something like this. And I thought, okay, well, that's really great for you guys, but I ain't doing that. I'm not going to ship products, carry inventory, have, sell minimums. Not doing it. And she said, well, guess what? We don't have to do any of those things. I thought, okay, well, what's my next excuse? And then I said, okay, well,
I guess I'm kind of running out of reasons not to do it. She said 25% off discount. And I was like, so discount? And if anybody knows me, and my husband knows this pretty well, I like to shop. And I'm like, well, it's on discount. It's basically they're paying you to buy it. That's a really good deal. And I'm already using the products anyways. And he didn't know, like before I found these products, how much I was using, like spending on skincare to try to get the brown off, take care of my face. I thought, well, the worst case, I can continue to get great skin and let skincare pay me for the first time ever. And that's probably a win. So I said, okay, I'm gonna become a consultant. So I went to tell him the good news. I was like, honey, I'm gonna become a consultant with the practice doctors. My mom and sister, it's gonna be great. And he was less than thrilled. And at that point he said no, and she's gonna tell you about why in just a second. I was kind of made me want to do it a little bit more, even though I wasn't really sure what to do it. And I said, no. So he's going to tell you a little bit about his reaction.
As Nancy said, I'm JR, the lesser half of contrary to what she just claimed, I tell her that her skin is glowing all the time. Yeah. Even when she had the mustache. But unlike Nancy, I am very business-minded and very entrepreneurial. I'll tell you. On topic, I was a super skeptic. I often tell people you're looking at a proud member, card-carrying member of the Cold Dead Body Club. Which is what I said it would be over if for her to do this. Over my cold dead body, will you do that to our family? There is no chance you're going to be involved in a gimmick that preys on people, that is a pyramid scheme, that has overhyped, unproven products, and that we have to store loads of inventory, turn our garage into a shipping department. I mean, there are child labor laws. We can't. And I said, there's no chance that you're going to have all of these things. There's a lot to that, and I would love a chance to talk to you more about it. But to be quicker and more to the point, I was super skeptical, and then I started a conversation with Nancy. She's persistent. As you heard earlier.
It's the second time.
And she's persuasive. That's why I married her. But ultimately, I started asking the girls questions, Nancy and Natalie, and they had an answer. They had done their research. And so I kind of started to open my ears and open my eyes, listen, look into it, do a little bit of research, and I learned a lot. For example, pyramid schemes are illegal. That's not what this is. There are a lot of businesses who have chosen, in an increasing number, who have chosen to market their products through direct consumer methods, direct selling, network marketing, and the like. There's a lot of us who purchase things based upon recommendations that we receive from friends on Facebook or what have you, right? And there were a lot of conversations that were had, and ultimately what happened was I kind of said, all right, there's nothing that you could tell me that's going to make me believe that this business is totally legit. I've seen too many things. My family was involved in a lot of multi-level marketing companies, and I watched what happened to them. I've heard stories. I've got friends and all of this stuff. There's nothing you could say that's going to convince me. That's maybe my issue. But if it's what you say it is, you are going to be excellent at it. And I love that you can do it with your family. Nancy had made a sacrifice to be in Austin with me in support of my business for years, away from her family, who she's deeply connected to. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have an open mind about this. And I'm going to commit. If you're going to commit, you cannot quit for a year.
I was like, what?
You've got to give it your all. I'm going to be there to support you. I'll wipe an extra butt or two. I'll knock out a load of laundry. I'll do those dishes, whatever it takes. We're going to go and we're going to see where it is, and in a year we'll revisit that. Right? So that's kind of the start of the process for me.
Okay, so after I got his go-ahead, we agreed. So I just basically started sharing, and I got some customers. My mom joined me, And I was watching, continue to see my skin transform. I went foundation free, concealer free. But in addition to that, I also used our Soothe regimen on my oldest son's really bad sensitive skin. He was really suffering from eczema since he was about 6 months old. And to see his skin transform, because every night he was clawing at it till it bled. We were doing all kinds of creams and hydrocortisone and Benadryl and everything that you can imagine to try to get his skin under control. And honestly, guys, it just doesn't work. And we would ask our doctor about it, and they don't have answers. Like, they just say, well, go get more cream. So to see that regimen, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end, really start to repair the skin and heal that was life-changing for us as parents to actually be able to help our child. And that's two things, guys. Dark marks, melasma, and sensitive skin issues, those are two answers. Those are two things that your doctors really don't have answers for, and we do. So we're actually fulfilling a need with our products, which is a really big deal. And when you have this kind of brand, it's big business. So I was sharing on the Join when I was making a paycheck. I remember my first paycheck was $81, and I thought, what in the world did they pay me $81 for? I don't understand. And then that grew. It was like $450, and then it grew to like $750, and so finally in 9 months, it was like a 4-digit paycheck, and I just kind of thought, okay, what do I have here, and why does it continue to grow? And I'm doing something I would do anyways. We all share things that we love. Most of us on social media, we're just not getting paid for it. We're now living in an era that relies on word of mouth. That is the dawn of happening, and more business is done online. And we often trust the referral of a friend more than we do the person in the department store. So I was kind of seeing that play out, and I had people say, well, since I saw you're doing it, and I saw your results, then I was interested. So what that made me do is plug into that culture that Liz talked about. And I started to listen to our leaders, and I started to listen to their stories and how they became this successful, what their background were. And what I heard over and over again is most of these people had never been in sales, let alone direct sales. They had all different backgrounds, all different education levels, but they were doing incredible things with this business, guys. And I'm not talking about just making $500 extra month, which is a big deal. And it's huge for families. But they were doing so much more than that. I honestly thought when I joined that you could make a couple $100 extra bucks, maybe $1,000 if you really worked hard, but that most of the people that got in earlier, knew enough people, were certain kind of people, were at the top. They're the ones who make the money, and everybody else really didn't. And that was my idea, that there was this very low cap on what you could do with this business. But when I heard people were doing everything from paying off debt, to paying for college funds, to taking that vacation that they've always wanted to take with their family, to retire themselves or their spouses from full-time and part-time jobs, and we're gonna talk about even more stuff that was going on, I thought, this is really big. I can do so much more with this business than I ever had imagined. And so what that made me do is start to look at our life a little bit differently. And from the outside looking in, guys, like Liz said, why would I do this business? We didn't really need the money. I was at home with my kids. He had a successful business. So why do it? Well, when you look inside of that, there was a lot of stress, and he was spending a lot of time away from home. He was missing a lot. And that's the bottom line. And he was gone a lot of times before our kids got up, and home after they got in bed, and he was traveling. Because to build a business, a conventional business, to be successful, it takes a lot of work. And the sacrifice usually is stress and time. And we were the ones bearing the brunt of that, and the weight of the world was on his shoulders. And it was really no end in sight. This is kind of what life was. And it wasn't that we weren't blessed and thankful, that when I thought there was something that could make a difference, then the light bulb went on. And I thought, why can't I do for my family what these people have done for theirs? Why not? I have the same opportunity. And I'm sure I can figure it out and learn from my leaders and follow what they've done, which is basically all we do on our team. We follow the successful people. We never have to go it alone. We have an incredible support system. And it's just a simple duplication of sharing in different ways over time. And I thought, well, I can do that. So it was really about 6 or 7 months into my business. I went to convention for the first time, which was incredible. We're about to have another one. And really understood how big this company is and where they're taking it. And so I decided to really move with the business at that point. But Jared's going to talk a little bit more about his company and what he does.
I will try and make this as clear as it can be. I've got a couple ideas from what you just said, so we're going to try this out. But essentially, as I said before, an entrepreneur. I'm an investor in businesses. That wasn't always so, but I'm an executive business consultant for brands, consumer packaged goods brands. I have built brands and I have sold brands and businesses. And one of those businesses that I started is a company that I own and operate today. It does brand strategy, packaging design, and identity work for consumer packaged goods brands. So what maybe, if that means anything to you, we do their logos and consult on how they go to market, how they activate consumers, how they get people to invest and engage in their product in meaningful ways, and how they can transform their lives with their products and services. And so when it's part of what made me, as I said before, like pretty skeptical about this business, because I came with that background in it, thinking that I know a little bit about that, and I work for everyone from a board housewife in South Carolina to Coke and Kellogg and General Mills and big multi-billion global dollar businesses. And I was sitting there and I was watching this happen for Nancy, and I was reflecting on what it took for me to start my business. And I was like, well, for me, it was $100,000 of investment initially. And I had to borrow a great deal of that, right? And there was employer tax and franchise tax and unemployment tax and developing a benefits package for my employees and thinking about how I was going to do payroll and set up a process for that. And it was process and procedure and rent and negotiating contracts. It was all this stuff, right? That I just wanted to consult and build brands and make a difference in people's lives through the brands that we worked with and the businesses that I could consult for. But it was way, way more than that. And so it took blood, sweat, and a heck of a lot of tears, right? Because I was missing my kids growing up, y'all. I was watching them grow up, and I was not present. And I remember distinctly before Austin Convention, there was one week where I worked 110 hours, and I watched Nancy, and I'm like to the bone, and my kid, right, that week, and Nancy plugged away for a couple hours, loved it. I remember at that time, my paycheck was dangerously close. And since that time, his blow put mine to shame. And I thought that I would bristle at that, and I wasn't really comfortable about that for a long time, and now I'm proud as heck about it. I couldn't be more proud. But ultimately, that's what I do for a living, is a lot of this. This new CEO of Rodan & Fields is Diane Dietz, who was the head of Safeway, Randall's grocery store. And she knows a thing or two about brand strategy for consumer packaged goods. And so I went to convention, and they basically wrote a day as a brand strategy and planning presentation. I was eating it up. And that's my transition to tell you, I want everybody, anyone who's not a consultant, I want you to hear this. But those of you who are, I want to speak directly to you for a second and tell you about what special thing you've got that you've signed up with. People pay my business, I don't even know if this is on. People pay my business like hundreds of thousands of dollars to tell them that they need what Rodan & Fields has and to do what they need to do. And one of the secret sauce that's made my business successful is that we have this fundamental belief that brands need 4 horsemen, as we call it. There are 4 things that you need to have that differentiate you and make you defensible long-term against all of your competition. There's a little bit of secret sauce for you, a little brand strategy free of charge. 4 things. What Rodan & Fields has, it's 4 horsemen, right, of the apocalypse for all other skincare companies, right, is the doctors, first and foremost. We said it before, it's been said a number of times, proactive, almost enough said, right? But there's nothing more credible and viable about that. This is not a direct selling company that chose skincare. These are skincare professionals, rock stars at the absolute apex and pinnacle of their profession, who looked at the fact that they were in like Nordstrom's and department stores, and they said, you know what, we've done some research and paid a lot of money to do it, and we realize that our business doesn't necessarily grow by the person behind the counter or the advertisement, and we've done things a little bit differently. With Proactive, it was with celebrities and reinventing the infomercial and all of that stuff. Is there another way? Is there something more innovative that we could do? And they looked overseas and at emerging trends in the market. They realized, okay, we can put it in the hands of people and we can really transform them. In the same way that we see our clients as practicing dermatologists, we see their lives transformed by this experience with our products. We know that the products have the power to do that. So why don't we give it back to them? I've met the doctors. I've met their amazing husbands. They're the kindest people, and I can't believe that they're willing to have conversations with us on such an intimate level in the settings that we've met them, because they've been so successful. It's pretty humbling. And the doctors are horseman number one. Number two, the products. Clinically proven, dermatological grade products that Nancy will talk about a little bit in a second, but the products work before they even get on your skin, right? These products are incredible, and they absolutely work. My wife, my son, testament to that, right?
And you and your eye cream.
And me and my eye
Yeah, I crack.
Exactly.
I always tell them, like, I'm just getting younger and younger looking.
Yes.
Eye creams.
So the products, they speak for themselves. Super, super effective. They work like nothing else, right? Especially me. They don't. They're amazing. They put a life in my wife's face that. I understand that.
I got there.
The third horseman is the brand, right? They don't pay for advertisements. They're the darlings of the industry. Magazines promote them all the time. The products speak for themselves. It's all over social media, all these before and afters. They don't have to go and do traditional advertising. There's millions and millions of dollars working for you when people do research on the business. The brand is as strong as it can be. It's the name of two doctors. They put their name on it, right? It's not just a branded product like Proactive. It's the doctor's names, and the brand is as strong as any brand that I've ever worked on or for, and it's on its way to being a global enterprise on a much bigger bucket than just acne like Proactive was. Anti-aging and broader skincare concerns are way bigger, right? And as I saw that, with what I know about like the exponential growth of business and the opportunity to capitalize on that, I was like, now we're on to something. Doctors, products, brand, and then the business model. As I said before, I had to do a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't have any business doing, didn't want to be doing. This is built for you. It costs you like $1,000 to do it or something, and then you have $120 a month in overhead. I have more than that in thousands every month for my business, and the headache and the stresses that come along with that. That doesn't exist for Nancy. And I worked like a dog, right? I've been doing what I've done for 20 years, and I started my business a little over 10 years ago. As I said, I sat there, looked in the mirror at what I've been doing, looked at what Nancy was doing, looking at her, looking in the mirror, loving what she sees, and going, I'm tired, y'all. This is pretty brutal. She was able to do in 3 years way more on part-time status than I was able to accomplish. That's humbling to say as a husband, right? But it's also something that I'm very proud of that my wife was able to accomplish. I love what I do. I get to work with my friends. I work with my sister and my best friend in the world, and that's awesome. It's super rare. I thought it was special. And I watched Nancy. Work with her mom, her sister, all of her best friends, making new best friends, like, right? And I'm going, huh. And if I could just boil all that down into a nutshell and tell you a moment of truth. When I sit there and look at the employees who work for my business, it's really hard for me because I don't know why they don't quit and do this. I'm thankful that they don't. But really, 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 if I could tell them to do one thing, if they quit, or if I had to fire somebody or whatever, it would be to do this. God's honest truth. It's been that transformative. And for somebody like me, who was like over my cold dead body, to be standing in front of a room like this and saying that, it's pretty crazy. Nancy said she never thought she would be doing this. Believe me, I never thought I would be doing this. And so the brand is legit. You got the 4 horsemen, the doctors, the products, the brand, and the business model. It's built for you, and it's built for you to take advantage of, okay?
Yeah, he's exactly right. And for all of those reasons is why we're able to build the kind of businesses that we are, and with social media and all those things, we can build businesses much faster and much bigger because we don't have to rely on the door-to-door and all that kind of stuff. But everything that we've accomplished in this business are really a testament to this company and all those things that he just talked about. We're not special. We just saw what was in front of us and decided to take advantage of it. So over the last a little over 3 years, we built a business, and that $81 paycheck went from grew and grew and grew, and now I get paid. It's a multiple 5-digit monthly income that pays me more in a month than most teachers make in a year. And it is shocking every time I get a paycheck. I don't know whether to laugh or cry because I can't believe that this is possible and this is what's happening. But that is the power of word of mouth, and that's the power of a company like this that you get to partner with. Because as Organic Hills Consultants, the moment you become a consultant, you get to leverage all of that. And that's unheard of, guys. And we're not just hanging out competing with the people within a multi-level marketing and direct sales. We're competing with the big dogs. And we just hit #1 in North America in skincare, period. It doesn't matter where you buy your skincare. It doesn't matter if you buy it from the drugstore or you buy it from a high-end department store, we're #1 because our products work. And that is pretty incredible. And we're gonna take the globe by storm and be #1 too.
Yeah.
But it's super exclusive. Lisa's like, yeah. But the other really cool thing about that is it seems like sometimes when you know somebody on social media posting about it, or you have a couple friends that either use it, or maybe they're a consultant or something like that, and you hear the massive things we're accomplishing, you think, wow, I mean, how many people are really doing this? And it seems like everybody's doing it. But it's kind of like when you get a car or a bag or something, you kind of notice when someone else gets that same bag or car, because in actuality, when you look at the stats, there's barely anyone doing it. We have around 250,000 consultants in the US and Canada. We just launched Australia, so that's brand new. But that's not enough to saturate one state, let alone North America and all of the globe. It's not enough. And less than half of those people even work their businesses and get a paycheck. A lot of people are just in it for the better discount. So when I say that the opportunity is wide open, I mean it's wide open, you guys. If you want to compare that to other companies in our industry, if you're just talking about that, because guess what? Estee Lauder, Lancome, and Clinique for the top 3 in retail, they ain't asking any of us to partner with them. But if you're looking at people in our industry, like, let's see, Arbonne has about 2 million. If you're looking at Mary Kay, they have about 6 million. There's someone, Avon, 6 million, Mary Kay's around 4. So way more consultants and stuff, and they've been around for a long time. And I'm not saying they're not great brands, but nobody else has what we have. It's just completely different than anything else. And like he said, the structure, I want to encourage you to look at the compensation plan, look at the way we're structured. It's completely different than anything else out there like this. And what it's been able to do for us, and I talk about the money, guys, and it's not about the money, but it is. Because what money gives you is time freedom. And time is a commodity that we cannot get back. And so what it's done for my family is it's allowed us to live life and make choices like Liz was talking about that we want to do. It's allowed the weight of the world to come off of his shoulders so he doesn't have to work 80 hours a week. He doesn't have to travel all the time because he gets to pick and choose what work he wants to do and what they don't want to do because it's not all on him. And he loves what he does, but it's allowed that stress to come off. We've also been able to purchase our dream home in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and move closer to my family. And it always makes me so emotional because when we were living in Austin, and I moved down there because I fell in love with a guy. I didn't plan on living there forever. I mean, I didn't sign up for that. But as time went on, this dream that I had as a little girl to live by my family and maybe all get a big piece of property and like have a pool in the middle and everybody like, that's what I thought. I was just like, God, this movie is so amazing. But then as as time was going on, I realized that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna live by my sister. My parents are getting older. I'm never gonna be able to have my kids around them on a consistent basis. It's just not gonna happen. And my husband is gonna work like a dog for the next 30, 40 years. And maybe, hopefully, at the end of that, we're gonna be able to retire, and he's gonna miss so much with our kids. And that just became reality, because that's just what it is. And I was like, we just have plenty to be thankful about, and I just need to get over it. But when this business has done what it's done for us, it's not a gold mine, guys, it's a business, and you gotta work it. But to be able to do what we've done because of these doctors, it's allowed us to step outside of that, and those dreams that I had put on a shelf, as we all do as we get older, and reality sets in, we put our dreams on a shelf, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen ever, it's just not realistic. But I got to take those dreams off that shelf, and we're now living them. And guys, that is a very powerful thing. And to see my sister retire from her career as a PA in oncology, and her husband retire from his family business to be home with their children or to do something they're passionate about. Not everybody wants to retire, like Dara hasn't retired yet. Or not everybody wants to be at home. And my sister's like, okay, Rocky, you're gonna have to find something to do. You can't be at the house all day. But she went through years of infertility to get those babies, and she was spending all this time away from them and running the rat race, and she wanted to be at home with them. So that's what they did, because that's what they chose. And she's making way more a month, guys, $30,000 a month, or my last check was $33,000. I'll just give you the actual number. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Because there are people on our team making multiple 5-digit monthly incomes and multiple 6-digit monthly incomes that we know personally. Lisa's back there like, yeah. And it is a business, like I said, but it's about sharing. And we have the best products and the best business out there. And my mom has started this business at 59 years old, and her team is going towards Lexus, and she is going to live better in retirement than they have in all the years prior, because they've been in ministry and didn't know if they would ever be able to retire. But because of this business and her willingness to step out and do something different, they're going to be able to do that. And that is a huge blessing for our family. And we've been able to give more than we ever thought we would be able to. And like Hurricane Harvey just happened down the south, a ton of team members that lost their homes or their businesses and all kinds of stuff. And I was able to just sit down at our kitchen table and open the computer and give. I didn't have to think about if I could, what would happen to the budget, would JR get mad at me? Like, not that he's not giving, but you know what I mean? Like, sorry, honey. So, I didn't have to think about any of those things. I could give to the things that were important to me that I wanted to be able to help, in addition to the things that it's given to us. And that's been such a huge blessing. I know he has some personal things he wants to share.
Okay. I do want to share 3 things about on the personal side that maybe help shed light on what was transformational in my perspective of this journey. Is the fact that I was working where I left off. I said I was working like a dog, right? And I was working to try and chase financial freedom for my family. And sometimes it was winning, and sometimes it was frustrating, right? To see the lack of progress or what have you. But I was chasing financial freedom because I was caught in this belief, this false belief that so many of us have, that the greatest gift in life is financial freedom. And those who have achieved it or whatever, what you realize and you learn from them is that the greatest gift of financial freedom is time, right? Time freedom. And Nancy got this opportunity to be closer and near her family. And I was like, praise God, it brought me closer to mine. So rather than get emotional about it, I got to spend way more time. The weight of the world off my shoulders. I got to concentrate. My work improved. Opportunities came. I was able to capitalize on them with a clear head without the weight and the stress on my shoulders. I was able to say, okay, I will take on this many clients a year, and we will build our business, and I will be able to compensate my people better, and I will be able to give them big raises as a result of that. And that's, as strange as it sounds, it's because of what Nancy provided our family. It's because of what Rodan and Fields and the opportunity that it represents as a vehicle provided for her, right? And so that was a huge thing for me. It wasn't just Nancy getting to spend time with her family. It was me getting to spend time with mine. And I didn't know it wasn't. I didn't think it was going to happen. If that makes sense. So the second thing was I went to convention last year. This is the transformative moment for me. I went in there, and not only did I hear this big branding talk that was I was eating it up, but I met real people. Quality, salt of the earth people, not freak shows, weirdos, Mr. Lincoln sales guys. No offense to any salesmen.
Police.
I was like, I realized I expected that a little bit of that cynicism was still there, and I expected to meet a certain type of people, right? And I met some of who I consider my very best friends now at last year's convention. I met people who were having like marital issues and drug issues and that were about to sign divorce papers, and who this business provided an opportunity for them to change their life, and that they were on fire again for life. And I met people who were able to retire their spouses, and I met people who were adopting all these kids, and then I met a couple who started an orphanage, and I met another couple who started an orphanage, not just adopted kids. I mean, I'm talking like a couple hundred kids, right? Overseas in Africa. And I was like, that's crazy. This is not just, Bentleys and mega yachts and big houses and that second house and all of that stuff. This is truly putting your money where your heart is. And that's pretty cool to meet people who are all about that, right? And so I got to look them in the eye and see that they were real and see that they were legit, and to start thinking, whoa, that could be us. We could find out what we're really passionate about, and we could put our priorities first. Not only family, but put our finances toward what we really want to see happen, right? It's great. If it's just for a shoe fund, awesome. But if that's what you're drawn to, this business can do it for you. I've seen it done. I've lived it done. I got to go to Africa earlier this year and hold the hands of little orphans in Sierra Leone, and I'm going back again in January, and that experience is amazing. But above and beyond all of that, the third thing, final thing I want to share with you is what I got to see it do for my wife. I did not realize the weight that I put on her. I was too busy and obsessed with the weight that I had felt in business, and I didn't know that it was crushing her so much being home alone, right? And kind of dealing with all of this stuff on her own. She was putting on a good face, always supportive, a soldier, and that was awesome. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But God wired Nancy in a way and put her here to speak truth into women's lives and to meet them at an intersection of change. And the business, it became an opportunity for her to do that. That's what she does day in and day out, is looks at people in their situation, is able to coach them, love them, truly speak the truth to them in whatever their hang-ups are, what their strengths are, what the opportunities for improvement might be, and see and hear and listen what will make them accomplish what they want, define their expectations, raise their effort to meet those expectations, and help them take the next step to get there, and be with them all along the way. That's what's made so many friends for Nancy. That is the opportunity that has brought that out in her, and it's fulfilled her in ways that I can't do, that my family can't do, that the business doesn't do in general. It's just the opportunities that come as a byproduct of her saying yes. And all those lives impacted from her doing what only she can do is because she said yes. So please, all of you who have said yes, know that your yes can impact a number of people, and you get to dictate how it does so, okay? That's the last thing I'll say.
And before I get to the project I'm about to do very quickly, and of course you're always about to make me cry, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to talk? I'm like, I cry for the whole thing. But he's right, your yes does matter. And it started with one yes with us, and then now we have almost 1,500 people on our team, and that's not because 1,500 people joined me. A very small, less than 3% of the people actually joined me personally, but people tell people, and that's the beauty of word of mouth. One of those people that said yes is Miss Elizabeth right here, who I knew I was going to get, and I was going to wear her down. So glad I did. But it's just cool to see what's happened with this team grow from where I originally came to Ames in Spirit Lake almost 2 years ago. A few months from now will be 2 years. And just to see that very beginning start of that business, and to see her drive and her work ethic and everything that she's been able to do, and how many people she's inspired, and her story has changed so many lives, and now you have over 100 people on your team, almost 150. And you guys, this team that Elizabeth started because she decided to think outside of the box is also cruising towards their Lexus, which is a huge, woo, very soon, which is a huge, she didn't say she can be your level 5, which means nothing to people that are in the business. I didn't even say what I'm RFX circle and Lexus here, I didn't say that part either. But the important part is Lexus. So I want to explain that just a little bit, guys, because in a lot of other companies, they hand out cards kind of like candy, and it's a little bit of a carrot dangling in front of people. And you don't have to really have that big or sustainable of a business before you get your car. And that's why a lot of times you see people in other companies lose their car. Well, in Rodan & Fields, a Lexus is a result of a very strong, firm foundation of a business that's set up for the long haul. So the way that that works is you have to have an organizational volume in a month of $125,000, meaning your team brings in $125,000 and has to sustain that for 3 months before you get your Lexus. So most of the time, people are way closer to that $200,000 mark by the time they get their Lexus, and they're making a minimum of $6,250 a month by the time they do that. That's a minimum. So what that shows you is a $1 million business by that time. So it is very sustainable. You can will these businesses to your children, and our doctors don't want to just hand things out like gimmicks. And when we get trips and all these other things you talked about, the bags and jewelry, guys, that's on top of the compensation. That is not the compensation. That is the cherry on top, and it is incredible. So I have to brag on this team a little bit because it has been incredible to watch it grow and to watch you and your leadership and everything that you've done and really pioneer an area, guys, because there's basically not very much going on in Iowa. I mean, like, from the I mean, like, with Rodan & Fields. Okay, so I've already talked about saturation not being the consistent thing, but certain states have more going on than others. And so I love Iowa, by the way, just FYI. But yeah, they have more going on than others. And when I started, so when I moved to Austin, that city had not really had a presence at all either. So we pioneered that city, and that's what you guys are here, is pioneering these areas. And in Iowa, and you guys, if you guys don't tell them, and I'm talking to the consultants here, but obviously I think everyone's a guest you're going. But if you don't tell them, somebody else will, because this business is going places, and I have every confidence that this team is going to completely take over this area, and it's going to be very exciting. So just have to say that. Okay, and then I'm going to go over the products very quickly. Jared's going to be my model for when I roll the roller space. Oh, okay. I just want to tell you a little bit of an overview about how our products work. So it's multi-med therapy, which the doctors perfected with Proactiv. It's the right ingredients and the right formulations in the right order, and that's why we get the results that we do. So all of our 4 main regimens address the 4 main skin concerns. So sensitive skin, acne, wrinkles, we're all aging, very depressing, and then reverse for sun damage, uneven skin tone, that kind of thing. So again, all of them are going to have steps. So we usually have a wash, and then step 2 or 3, and then a sunblock. So Soothe is a little different. It doesn't have a toner because you have to treat sensitive skin differently. I just want to highlight this one product. So this has our patented peptide in it, and what that does is it repairs the skin, the natural lipid barrier that protects your skin. It's a natural protective layer. Most products out there don't do that. So they're putting like a Band-Aid on top of your skin, but nothing's helping it repair itself. When you get out in the environment, it gets irritated, it gets reopened or whatever it is, or you have internal things going on, and nothing's helping the skin repair itself. So it can be ready for moisture and all those other things. So that's proprietary to us and what really sets that regimen apart as well. And then we have our acne regimen, which is a sulfur-based regimen. It's different than Proactiv in that it is a sulfur-based. It's the only sulfur-based acne solution on the market, and sulfur is actually clinically proven to clean out your pores and reduce redness. So super effective, and I said it's a newer technology than Proactiv, right? A little bit more gentle on your skin, a little less drying than Proactiv, and as you age, your skin gets drier and drier. And around 40% of adults still struggle with acne, so it's actually a huge need for people. And then I'll do Redefine last. So Reverse, the orange one, which is like Save My Face and my favorite, it has 5 steps, but it's really the step 3 is separated because our doctors care very much so about efficacy. They're not looking at the bottom line. Like, first thing other companies are looking at is bottom line. Well, how much is this gonna cost me? What they care about first is efficacy. Do the products work? Are they doing what they say they're gonna do? And these ingredients, vitamin C and retinol, they don't play well together. So if you go to the department store and it says, oh, this has vitamin C and all this other stuff in it. No, vitamin C likes to be by itself. It's that kid on the playground that's over there, doesn't want to play with anybody, okay? This is it. So they have to separate them to keep the efficacy, so then they get combined at the time of use. And there's actually the same thing going on with that unblemished pump over there. They keep those ingredients separated until the time of use. And they also put the amount of the ingredient that's going to be active. It's actually going to produce results. So they also don't skimp on the ingredient, if that makes sense. And then Redefine, which is our flagship, because everyone's aging all the time, and the best wrinkle, like our doctors say, is the one you never get, because your skin has memory. I don't know if y'all know that. And you also stop producing collagen at like 30. It's like downhill from there. So the Redefine regimen has 4 steps as well. Has a great pore minimizing toner. Thank the Lord, I had a pore the size of, it's getting huger and huger on my nose. And you know what your pores do? They get bigger and bigger because they want to get oxygen. And if you're not cleaning out your pores, then they're just going to continue to do that. And what our products do is they will clean out your skin and change your skin at a cellular level. And you hear about the RF glow, like my sister said, what's going on with your face? What happens is that your space is not cleaned out. You cannot reflect light and glow. It's like a dirty lake, super dirty, doesn't look very good, doesn't have that shimmer. If you have a clean lake, it looks like it's glowing, and that's like your skin. And then we have a few tools. We have an incredible eye cream we call Eye Crack. It's awesome. And then it does all the things you want to do for your eyes. And then we also just came out with one of our more recent products is a hydration serum. So this is not a moisturizer. It's different than a moisturizer. Moisturizer locks in the moisture on your face already. What this does is it actually draws moisture to your skin during the day. And then we have our Lash Boost, which is a huge product that everyone loves, and it makes your lashes longer, fuller, and darker. We have to say looking because of rules and regulations, because we're technically a cosmetic company, but they actually do make your lashes longer. And it's basically vitamins and our patented peptide. I mean, it's a very minimal ingredients. Same with our acute cares. It's a hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is used for fillers, injectable fillers. But what we did is we came up with a way to deliver that without using a needle. And this is proprietary to us. So the delivery mechanism is actually hyaluronic acid, and it's a patch. You just kind of go like this on your expression line, and it fills a wrinkle while you sleep. So it's hyaluronic acid and our patented peptide, and these little cones, this liquid cone technology, is a delivery mechanism. It's super gentle. You can do it in your bathroom. So you're getting a theme here. We're literally bringing dermatology, the top dermatologists in the world, to your bathroom. That's pretty awesome. And then, I don't like needles, so I was like, I love this. Okay, JR is gonna let me roll his forehead. You guys. Okay, so this is our MD roller. Kind of feels like a cat licking you. And what this does is it makes micro perforations in your skin, so it allows your product to seep in and be more effective. So you do it after toner. Can't roll with the sensitive skin regimen or if you have active acne. But they developed this tool. There's other microderm needling out there, but a lot of them require downtime and bleeding, swelling, that kind of thing. And you certainly can't be doing them in your bathroom. And there are some out there that are cheap, but you get what you pay for, people. And this is 200 acupuncture stainless steel needles. So but it doesn't hurt. It's like the other thing is that it tells your skin it's having a micro trauma. So what it does is it upgrades healthy cells like collagen. So remember I said we stop producing collagen at 30? Well, this tricks your face into producing more, which that's like an added bonus. Okay, so that's our products in a nutshell. And like they've already said, we want to encourage you guys, if you're guests tonight, to just give yourself the room to say yes to something different or to get your questions asked. Answered. We love questions. We would be happy to answer any questions that you have. I know Liz would, or the consultant that brought you. There's 2 ways to become a part of our Dated Bills. We have a wonderful preferred customer program that gets you 10% off and free shipping. And then we have a consultant option, which gives you 25% off, and you get to do whatever you want with this business opportunity that we've already talked to you about. And we have 3 kits. We have a $3.95, $6.95, and a $9.95. And you only get 1 chance to buy those kits. they're anywhere between a 35 and 50% off discount. And they're great if you are gonna be sharing something like this, maybe in your home. That's how I started. People would try the products, you can get familiar with them. And it's just a really great option. So that's all we have. Thanks for listening, guys. Oh, giveaways. Liz is gonna come and help me do the giveaways, guys. Get some really awesome stuff. Woo! So all the guests got their names in, right? You may not get your name in the sketch.
She wildly.
TRW will get you. Control the backside. You get the reverse, by the way.
All right, so what's the first one we're getting away?
Should we do the?
Which one? Your last shoes. This is okay, so Nancy's absolutely right. This stuff is like insane. This outsold the top selling mascara last year. I mean, this stuff is great. And then it comes with an adorable little pouch. And this is going
And a mini ice cream.
And this is going to Jean. Jean, please close to my sister. Okay, so we're gonna do the gift set next. Oh wait, we're doing the next lotion.
If someone's gonna be like, what, I got lotion, she got lotion.
I know we should have started with
Yeah, we should.
Okay, which one, what are these? Are these all?
Yeah.
Let's
do the hydration.
Hydration sample. Okay, we're gonna go small and we'll finish it. So, Jamie Denrod. Okay, so we'll do the acute care sample next.
So you can tell with 93% accuracy if the acute care responder within 1 use. So whoever gets the sample will be able to know if they need a more.
Scott Dickey.
Scott.
You might have just done it.
All right, well, let's do body lotion.
This is actually my most favorite lotion. Not because
This lotion is fantastic.
It's awesome.
It is fantastic. Very good. And this is going to Scott. You proud of? Very nice. I love the men taking a little bit of this stuff. It's great. Okay. Eye cream, eye crack, is going to Craig Gish. And last but not least, this gift set was fantastic. This was only available for a short amount of time. This has our eye cream and a lip serum with this adorable bag as well. So this is pretty fantastic. Yes, and if you've not tried the lip renewing serum for your chapstick, go away and buy some lip renewing.
Yeah, it's actually
It is unbelievable. So gift sets last but certainly not least. Here we go. Cody Coke. You're very well. I think it's good. Those are all my good points we had. Does anybody have any questions that we can certainly answer while we're up here? Otherwise, we can have a drink and finish the food, because I really don't want to go up food. So please grab some food.
You need to pick
Yeah, Brian.
That's projected growth.
The projected growth of the company.
Yes.
I'll let Nancy get a lot more secret sauce than I do, so I'll let her answer that.
So the projected growth, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the anti-aging industry globally is around $250 billion.